can't sleep, that's all.
How long you been down here?
Dunno.
You're going to wear yourself out with all this worrying. Why don't you come back to bed for an hour? It's going to be a long day.
I feel as if I've been waiting forever for this moment. He will go down, won't he?
Wouldn't be a trial if the police weren't sure of the evidence.
No, I suppose not.
Come back to bed, let's give you a cuddle.
You go up. I'll only keep you awake. I just need to be on my own for a bit.
You sure?
I'm sorry, Mr. Baldwin. I've just checked the stock room and we're running really low on black lycra. I can put girls onto sateen for some.
We had to deliver a lycra last week.
I know, but it is a big order, this, and we are getting through it in a rate of knots.
Oh, it shows they're grafting. Phone the suppliers, will you?
Thanks.
How much shall I ask him for?
Oh, hang on, before you do that, we better have an emergency stock take. I don't want to be paying out for more than I need.
Oh, so you want the whole stock room doing?
Yeah, afraid so. Might mean working late tonight.
How come since Mark left I get all the good jobs?
Don't worry, you'll get paid overtime, so you don't have to go running to Ken with more tales.
Now, let's get one thing straight, Linda. If Kent picked up any complaints about this place, they didn't come from me.
So you say?
Yes, I do say. And I'm not a liar.
Well, who else would put their job at risk to provide copy for that feeble column of his?
I don't know. Maybe that's what you should be finding out.
Today's the day, then.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You're doing the right thing. You know that, don't you?
Well, that depends on your point of view.
Look, just forget all that stuff last week. Just go in there and nail him.
Morning, Leon.
Hiya.
Fed, son?
Yeah.
Come on, then.
Good luck.
So.
Oh, Toya. Look, I'm really sorry about your job at the radio station.
Don't be. It weren't a proper job, any road. Work experience is just cheap labour as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, but I didn't intend you to jeopardise it on my account.
To tell you the truth, I just wanted to do something. That Jason's a right pillock. And all he ever did was treat me like a gopher.
Well, it was a great plug from a book.
Well, I'm glad. You've done enough for me.
Are you looking for something to replace it? Can I be of any help?
Don't worry, I'll soon find something. I were never going to learn much off that Jason any road. See ya.
Bye.
Good luck, love. Thanks, Betty. But I hope luck won't come into it, not if the prosecution's first witness does his stuff. Norris, I'm sorry I'm late. I never meant to be so long.
Now, in my experience, ladies who go shopping never do. I'll put the kettle on.
I hope you haven't been run off your feet.
Oh, it doesn't do folk any harm to wait a while. I mean, queuing can be an oasis of calm in a busy life.
I can see you're a bit annoyed with me. Quite right. I'm very sorry.
Oh, well, go on. Let's have a look at the fruits of this special expedition.
Now, what do you think?
Oh, yes, very chic. So, what's the big occasion?
Oh, nothing special. It's just an outing to the theatre with a friend.
Oh, I see. Always very well turned out, is she, this friend? And you don't want to show her up, so you just had to buy a new frock.
As it happens, it's a gentleman friend.
Oh, no, really?
Norris, I don't know why you're making so much of this. I have simply been invited to the theatre by a friend.
And what will you be wearing for the second date?
Oh, for heaven's sake. You don't go on dates at my age. It's simply an outing to the theatre with a friend.
Oh, it's not that old fella from the bookshop, is it? I mean, that Anthony, well, whatever he's called. I wondered if he had his eye on you.
Norris, mind your own business.
Well, they can be a very odd breed, booksellers, surrounded all day by all that fiction. It gives them funny ideas.
Well, I'll bear that in mind.
There, son. Take your gums or not.
I don't want any more coffee. Why have they got to keep us hanging around out here all the time? I thought I was supposed to be the first witness.
I told you. There's a load of legal nonsense I've got to go through before they get anywhere near you.
Why did you make a change this time, eh? You in the witness box as opposed to the dock?
Very funny. I wish she'd stop staring at me.
Stephen, she is Natalie. And you can guarantee she's not having a particularly nice day either.
Well, what's she staring at me for? It's not as if I killed Tony, is it?
No, we know who killed Tony. That's why we're here, see him locked up.
He'd have got himself one of these fancy barristers, you know that, don't you? One of these ones that are really good at winding you up.
Mm-hmm. So all you've got to do is stand there and tell the truth.
The truth? I'll tell you what the truth is. If I go in there and grass up Jez Quigley, I am a dead man.
No, you're not a dead man. There's no more killing, all right? It's finished. You get my drift?
Listen, I can't do this.
Yes, you can do it. Now, come on, get a grip, Stephen. Eh? It's better.
What's the matter? What's happened? We were just talking about how Tony's body was dug up and, you know, they had photos and everything. It was horrible. And all through it, he's just sat there in the dock like butter wouldn't melt.
Look, why don't you sit with Natalie for a bit and I'll go and take a tea?
Yeah, all right. Is that all right with you, Nat? I don't know whether it's better to be out here hearing it second-hand or whether to be in court.
Well, once you've given your evidence, then, well, I'll let you go in.
Yeah, personally, I think you're better off out here. Trouble is, I get to watch Steve McDonald losing his bottle.
Do you want me to have a word?
I don't think it'll make any difference. I mean, who knows what he's going to say once he gets into the witness box? He could just deny everything.
Hi. Right, now let's get this sorted out once and for all, because I'm getting pretty fed up with people accusing me of being a liar.
I'm not accusing you of anything, but look at the facts from where I stand.
Yes, and the facts are that Ken could have got his information from anyone in that factory. And knew nothing about that article. He never even discussed it with me.
So who is it?
I don't know. He won't tell me.
He won't tell you?
No, he said a journalist has to protect his sources.
So he thinks it's more important to cover some grass than to protect his own partner.
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, I can quite believe that. Sounds like the sort of twisted logic that someone like him would employ. And he's supposed to have principles.
Well, I don't get it. Why do they get you in here so if they're just going to keep you hanging around all the time?
Stephen, shut up and settle down, will you?
Stephen James McDonald.
There you are. Be over in 2 shakes of a dead lamb's tail. Go on, son. Good luck.
Take the book in your right hand and repeat after me. I swear by Almighty God.
I swear by Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give.
That the evidence I shall give.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Mr. MacDonald, on the 9th of May last, you made a statement to the police, did you not?
Yes.
Speak up, Mr. MacDonald, so we can all hear you.
Sorry. Yes, I did.
You made a statement to the police, and in that statement you recounted a conversation between yourself and the defendant, Gerald Francis Quigley. Could you now tell the court about that conversation, Mr. MacDonald? Mr. MacDonald?
Well, the way it happened was Gerald, and I had a bit of a row. I was starting up a minicab firm with a friend of mine, and Jez was trying to muscle in on it, trying to get us to do deliveries for him.
Deliveries of what?
Well, drugs, I presume.
Objection. It's not for the witness to make presumptions.
Please keep to the facts. Continue.
And what was your response to Mr. Quigley's request?
Well, I wasn't having it. I said no.
And then what happened?
Well, he roughed me up.
The defendant tried to intimidate you?
Yes, he said if I wasn't going to go for it, then he was going to do to me what he did to Tony Horrocks.
He'd do to you what he did to Tony Horrocks? What did you take that to mean, Mr. MacDonald? What had he done to Tony Horrocks?
Oh, he'd killed him.
Hiya.
Hiya, I'm coming.
Just on my dinner break, I thought I'd pop in.
Wish I had a dinner break. She hasn't stopped all morning.
Oh, poor little thing. What's the matter?
Beats me. I've fed her. I've changed her. I've winded her.
Oh, perhaps she's poorly.
No, I doubt it. She's probably just bored. I know I am.
Oh, she seems to be a bit happier now. Oh, maybe you should try singing to her.
Singing? Who do you think I am, Charlotte Church?
Well, just hum to her soothingly. Babies like that, don't you?
You're a lot better with her than I am.
Oh, Sarah, rubbish. It's one thing taking care of a baby once in a while. Being a full-time mum, that's something else.
Tell me about it.
Listen, I've got half an hour before I've got to go back to work. Oh, why don't I take you round the block for a bit of fresh air and give you some time to yourself?
Are you sure you don't mind?
Oh, of course not. That's what godmothers are for, isn't it, Bethany? Stepping into the breach. Yes.
Miss Deacon.
Thank you, my lad. Mr. MacDonald, I'd like to ask you a bit more about your taxi firm. You set it up with a friend.
Yes, a local lad, Vikram Desai.
And did you and Mr. Desai both contribute capital to the firm?
Yes.
In equal shares?
Yes.
And where did you get your contribution from, Mr. MacDonald?
I was owed money from a building job.
And this is where you obtained your investment for the taxi firm?
Yes, eventually.
All your investment? You didn't need to borrow any money?
No.
You are sure about that, Mr. MacDonald? Because you've sworn an oath to tell the truth, and facts can be checked.
I was owed the money from some building work. You can check with Dougie Ferguson, the developer, if you like.
Presumably we can also check the date on which you received this sum from Mr. Ferguson and compare it with the date on which your investment was deposited in the taxi firm's bank account.
Yes, I suppose you could.
And which date came first?
Look, it was just for a couple of days.
A couple of days between depositing the money and receiving it from Mr. Ferguson. How did you manage to cover that? Did the bank give you a bridging loan?
No.
Where did the money come from then? I ask you again, did you borrow it, Mr. MacDonald?
Look, it was only meant to be for a couple of days. I tried to give it him back, but he wouldn't take it.
He being the defendant, Gerald Quigley?
Yeah, see, it was just meant to be a loan. It didn't mean I was going to start delivering drugs for him.
How much was this loan for?
8 grand.
£8,000. That's a tidy sum. When you add that to the £10,000 reward money that is being offered in this case, I'd say that adds up to a sizable motivation to lie, wouldn't you, Mr. MacDonald?
I am not lying.
I put it to you, Mr. MacDonald, that you saw an opportunity. You owed the defendant £8,000 and you didn't want to pay him back.
I tried to, but he wouldn't take it.
So you say. Gerald Quigley is a successful young businessman with a previously unblemished record. Do you have a criminal record, Mr. MacDonald?
Yes, but I don't see what that's got to do with this.
You say Gerald Quigley threatened to do to you what he did to Tony Horrocks. I suggest to you that is a complete fabrication.
It is not. I mean, that's what he said.
I suggest to you that in order to save yourself from repaying an £8,000 loan, and in the hope of gaining even more in reward money, you decided to set up Gerald Quigley. In fact, your testimony in this case has been a tissue of lies from start to finish, hasn't it, Mr. MacDonald?
No.
Right, that's the stock check nearly finished. I just need to go over... Who's locked this drawer?
I have. There's confidential documents in there. If you need out, you'll have to ask me.
Are you implying I'm not to be trusted?
Well, security is obviously an issue we need to take more seriously.
Mike, Who's running this place, her or you?
Well, she's got a point. We can't afford to have all and sundry getting access to important documents.
I mean, how am I supposed to do my job if every time I need a document I've got to go run into Madam?
I don't like being done over in the newspapers, and it's not going to happen again.
Fine. And I don't like being accused of something I haven't done. And I am not working with someone who thinks I'm a liar. I'm finished with this place.
Thank you, Betty. So, how many other placements are still available?
That's the trouble. I've rang round all the companies I can think of, and there's now.
Well, maybe I could have a word with the editor of the Gazette. Oh, hello, Deirdre. I thought you were doing overtime.
Yes.
Right, well, I'd best be off. I'll catch you later.
All right, Toya. Well, remember what I said. You can always find a way to fight back.
Something you'd know all about, wouldn't you? Especially when someone else is in the firing line.
You're not still on about my article.
Do you know, I sometimes think Mike's right about you.
Well, thank you very much. Just because he's your boss doesn't mean he can't be criticised.
But what about me? I'm getting fed up of being caught in the crossfire.
It's not easy for me, you know, you working for him.
Well, that's something you won't have to worry about anymore. Because I've quit.
What?
You heard.
Oh, come on then. Give us a twirl.
Oh, don't be daft.
Is that a loose thread hanging off your hand? Only teasing.
Oh, you.
No, he's a very lucky man.
Thanks very much.
But don't let him take any liberties with your person.
I think I can handle the situation, Laurie. Oh, you're very punctual.
Well, very elegant, Rita. I should be the envy of every man there.
Oh.
Have a nice time.
I just don't believe this. What about that Lee Sankey? Did he not point the finger at Jez?
Yeah, well, I thought he was okay considering he's actually in the nick.
What's going to happen now, Vinny? Hey, what if the jury doesn't believe Steve? What are they going to do about it?
Hey, well, you could try asking him.
Excuse me, it's Mr. Marriott, isn't it? I'm Natalie Barnes. I just wanted to ask you a few...
Mrs. Barnes, let me stop you right there. I'm not allowed to speak to you.
Why not? I just want to ask what's going on. I mean, it's all going wrong in there, isn't it?
No, it isn't. But it's unethical for me to speak to you in these circumstances. So if you'll please excuse me.
Unethical? Hey, that's my son's murderer you're trying in there.
Hey.
Yes, but why do they have to hide behind those stupid wigs and long words? I just want to know what's going on.
No. Wait here a minute. Listen, pal. I know you've got rules and all that, but if that scum is going to walk out of this court a free man, I think Mrs. Barnes has a right to know.
Strictly off the record. I can assure you it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, well, the barrister on the other side certainly made a monkey out of Steve MacDonald.
Yeah, it was just clever footwork. They're not going to get an acquittal. The forensic evidence is overwhelming. And the testimony we heard this afternoon from Lee Sankey is pretty damning. I think the jury took it on board. So, you can tell Mrs. Barnes not to worry. Now, if you don't mind, eh? It's been a long day.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks.
Personally, I always thought that a little night music was a good show, but that was a terrible production.
And will you say so in your review?
Oh, yes, I don't pull my punches. I mean, if people are going to spend good money on theatre tickets, I feel I should warn them. I mean, that's part of a theatre reviewer's job.
I always thought it was to put the fear of God into the company. I can still remember the anxiety, waiting for the reviews to come out.
Did you miss the life? Treading the boards?
Oh, no, that was years ago. Running the cabin's more my speed now.
I can see you up there. Spotlight, fishnet tights.
Hey, don't be cheeky.
Our table's ready. Shall we go?
Didn't it occur to you, Stephen, that he might want something back in return by way of interest?
Well, I was in a bit of a tight corner. You know, I didn't have a lot of choice, did I?
Oh, well, that's your life all over, isn't it?
Well, you're full of surprises, aren't you? Eh? Got any more hidden up your sleeve?
Hey, I went to court. I put my neck on the line. Told the truth. The whole truth.
No, I just want to have a pint and forget about it.
I never wanted her to chuck her job in. She said if I put pressure on her, she'd come clean about the whole thing.
Well, she has, hasn't she? Her walking out's as good as a confession.
Maybe I should have a word with her.
No, just leave it, Mike. Let her stew for a bit. You'll see, in a couple of days she'll come back dragging her tail between her legs.
You don't know Deirdre.
That was lovely. Yes, thank you.
Tell me, Rita, how long have you been on your own?
Oh, I lost Ted nearly 8 years ago now. 9th of September. It's not that long ago, really, but it seems like another life.
Been on your own ever since? Can't believe you haven't had other offers.
Offers? One or two.
Being a bit modest.
Well, you get to that point in your life, don't you, when you think, can I be bothered to get on this silly merry-go-round again?
Can you?
It would depend. I like to take each day as it comes and not rush into anything.
Well, I don't want to rush you, but I do have 2 tickets next week for an Alan Ayckbourn. Can I persuade you to accompany me?
That would be lovely. I would have thought you had ladies queuing up to go to the theatre with you.
Well, that's now. Perhaps I'm picky too.
Were you ever married?
I'd hope to get to that one before you. I'd like to explain. I'm married still.
Still? You mean you're separated?
No, I'm still married.
Then why don't you take your wife to the theatre?
Rita, it's a little complicated. If you'd just let me explain.
Explain? Well, you can try. But I have a funny feeling I've heard it all before.
Well, I doubt if you've heard this.
But, you know, I really had you down for something different.
Rita, would you just listen for a moment?
No fool like an old fool.
My wife is very ill.
Oh, so that makes it all right. Where does she think you are tonight?
Well, she doesn't know.
Oh, so you lied to her about what you were doing?
Rita, it's not as easy as that.
I wasn't born yesterday, you know. Thank you for a very pleasant evening, but I don't think I'd care to repeat it.